Good morning, friends, and welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today we are going to take a hydrangea tour of the property here at Creekside, both at the nursery and at the house, of some sun-loving hydrangeas. We're going to be focusing on these panicle hydrangeas because that is what is in full glory here in July in North Carolina. So we're going to go around, just really fun, informal, two friends walking through the garden, talking about gorgeous hydrangeas that are blooming. Now, the reason that we are focusing on the sun-loving hydrangeas today and not the shade more loving hydrangeas is because the panicles, the sun lovers, are now in all of their glory. For the most part, my shade hydrangeas have already kind of peaked, right? So they are earlier to bloom than the panicles. We'll get into all of that and talk about why. But if you have those sunny areas, or you just want some beautiful hydrangeas in your YouTube, Facebook feed this morning, then stay tuned because we're going to highlight a bunch of different ones of all shapes and sizes. So there's going to be a perfect one for everybody's garden. If you have those 5 hours or more of sun, then we have got some gorgeous hydrangeas for you. Exhibit A is pufferfish. Now, pufferfish is she's gorgeous. She currently is about probably at her peak, like 6 feet tall. You can tell that she's a little bit more upright than she is wide. Absolutely covered in big, beautiful blooms on it. We even have a little bee here that has not woken up this morning, just kind of hanging out, taking a little nap on the hydrangea flowers. But pufferfish is great because it has these big, huge, massive blooms, very kind of cone-shaped. But what's really cool is pufferfish is as these flower heads are developing, they will put on this little tiny tuft up here at the top. So that's where it gives its really kind of unique shape to it. It is a great pollinator attractor, as we can see by our sweet little friend here who's taking a nap, because it has a very kind of open habit to it on its blooms. So if you look up here, you can see how kind of light and airy. There's a lot of space in here. So those pollinators can get in there and really enjoy those flowers. And we have pollinators of all shapes and sizes that come to pufferfish. Now, with your panicles, before we get in, because there's a lot of characteristics with panicle hydrangeas that go across the board, okay? So let's just talk about those so that you understand panicle hydrangeas. There's a total of like there's probably about 5 different really types of hydrangeas. We're focusing on panicles, paniculatas. So your panicles, they do need that sun. This is definitely not going to be a shade hydrangea. They need a minimum, I would say, of 5 hours or more. Pufferfish, that's why I'm out here bright and early. It's not even 8 o'clock in the morning yet because she is going to get the sun first and will be in the sun until about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So they have to have the sun. Why are they later bloomers than your macrophyllus, your oak leaves, your serratas, right? Well, they're later bloomers because they bloom on new growth. So what that means is you want to prune your panicles every year. For me in North Carolina, Zone 8A, that's roughly around Valentine's Day. So give or take within the month of February, I will cut this back anywhere from 1/4 to 1/2. I don't go any deeper than 1/2 because I want to keep my nice strong stems on it. So you cut it every year. We cut it because we want to encourage new growth. And when we encourage that new growth, because they bloom on new growth, then you are guaranteed to have a beautiful display of flowers each and every year. That is the one, probably for me, the biggest selling point about the panicle hydrangeas is you're guaranteed to have flowers every single year. With your macrophyllus, those classic mop head, those nice big ball hydrangeas, depending if you get a late freeze or a late frost, you may lose your blooms early on. However, your panicles, they're going to give you flowers each and every year and be beautiful for it. So those are kind of the main points on your panicles, and that will go across and be true whether we're talking about pufferfish that is nice and big and beautiful, or some of the little tiniest panicle hydrangeas that only get like 2 feet tall. We treat them the same, but there you go. Now, pufferfish, roughly, and also as far as the zones, your panicles are going to be hardy in zones 3-ish to 8. There are a few that will go to 9. I'm not saying you can't grow them in 9, but just kind of those general recommendations. So they're very, very cold tolerant. They are fast growers, especially if you can put them on irrigation. And I'm going to tell you as we go through today, like what is on irrigation and what is not, because I think that's very important for me to share that with you so that you can understand how they're growing and maybe why they got so big so fast. Because trust me, I get it. Having irrigation is a luxury for a gardener. Absolutely. We are blessed to have irrigation here. My mama has 0 irrigation in her garden, so she has to treat plants differently, right? Now, pufferfish is on irrigation. There is drip tubing running through this garden. However, we only run it in the heat of the summer at the absolute most, twice a week for maybe 30 minutes to get it saturated. I think what has made a difference with pufferfish here is that this is very rich organic soil. We're on the house side of the berm. When we built the berm, we brought in a lot of great topsoil, compost, so that has contributed to her rapid growth. She is only not even 3 years old yet. So fast grower, very, very happy. Now, there you go. Pufferfish, big, beautiful, very kind of what we call like a lace cap panicle hydrangea, meaning that it's very light and open. And so when it rains, the water falls through, it does not flop. And then of course, your pollinators love it. So let's move on to look at some Quickfire Fabs. As folks are coming down into the nursery, this is going to be one of the first things that they see. There's a lot coming in. You want to look at this, or you want to go look at the berm? Lots of things. So we have folks that drive in nice and slow. So these are Quickfire Fabs, and we have Quickfire Fabs in multiple areas of our gardens, both at the nursery, in the berm, at the house. I just added some this year. But Quickfire Fab is a fantastic hydrangea. It is one of the earliest panicle hydrangeas to bloom, so she gets those blooms a little bit earlier than some of the other hydrangeas. You can see that she does have beautiful, more compact blooms than like pufferfish does, but she has a completely different shape to her. So Quickfire Fab is going to be a little bit more on the rounded side, not so much more upright. The interesting thing about this space is I like to give everybody the full perspective here. So this is the road going into the nursery. Obviously, the nursery is right across the creek. But as the sun comes up, this is east, and so the sun comes up and gives these hydrangeas really about those 5-ish to 6-ish hours. I mean, they're kind of right there on the border of getting those 5 to 6 hours of sun. Because as the sun goes up in the sky, we've got some big, beautiful hardwood trees here. And then west is this direction. So these are in the shade by probably, definitely by 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You can kind of see how Quickfire Fab has responded to that, because she has got beautiful foliage, right? The blooms are very fresh looking and very happy looking. And so they are still nice and bright white. We don't have any kind of burn on them or anything like that. There is drip irrigation in this. So Quickfire Fab gets a little bit of irrigation. They're not saturated in here and doing really well. So if you are looking for a nice kind of more of a rounded habit on your hydrangeas and you want the earlier bloomers, Quickfire Fab is going to be a great one. Now, depending on what growing zone you are in, if you are in an area in a climate that has cooler nights during the summer, then you're going to get your panicle hydrangeas are going to get some color to them. You're going to get the pinks, you're going to get those rosies, you're going to get those reds. Quickfire Fab will definitely be an absolutely gorgeous one for folks who are in those cooler climates at night, those low humidity where you have the plants get a break. Here in the south, and that is the unfortunate thing, is because our nights stay just as hot and just as humid and sticky at nighttime as they are during the day. So it's not that uncommon. In fact, it is it is common for our nighttime humidity dew points to be very high, and maybe we stay in the 80s, low 80s, upper 70s at night. So the plants don't get a break, which causes them not to turn those rosy colors. The rosy colors come from the cooler temperatures. So if we don't get those cooler temperatures, then they can go from this cream onto a brown. Quickfire Fab will give me some pink. I will say that I get pink hues to it, but not an overall, big color display of those pinks and those reds. But when you put these hydrangeas together in mass, and when we say in mass, that could be 2, that could be 3, that could be 30. It all depends on your space and what you want to do. Of course, it makes a nice, big, huge impact. I'm going to show you some Quickfire Fabs. Also, well, while we're doing it, let's just mosey on up here. So we also have the Quickfire Fabs because we had them down here when we were doing the berm. I wanted to have them up on the berm as well. So we have them both on the nursery side and the house side. So you can get a little bit of a difference to see. The ones back here are older, but the soil is not as organically rich as what is up here on the berm. So the ones up on the berm are going to be a little bit taller and a little bit more larger because they have more organically rich soil to them. Now, what I was talking about is because the ones down by the creek get a break in the afternoon, and these guys up here will hold on. They get more afternoon sun, and this little guy, I need probably to check the irrigation because she's just struggling a little bit. But do you see how like her leaves are just a little bit wilted, and it is the morning, so that's telling me she's on the dry side. So I need to check her irrigation. So you can see just her leaves just look a little, they're not very perky. Another sign, I'm starting to have some burn on the flowers. So this is a sign to me that we need to check this irrigation, make sure that she is getting the water that she needs, because her next door neighbor right here is doing great. Like, she's very happy, but again, a little bit of the burn on the flowers already, but that has really contributed to the fact of this gets hot afternoon sun because of the way it is, where the others by the creek get a break in the afternoon. So if, as a general rule, if you do not have irrigation, if you can put those hydrangeas, even your panicles, if you can give them a break in the hot afternoon sun, then that is going to probably be the most optimal. Otherwise, you might start to see a little bit of burn, or you're gonna have to supplement water. Okay, now let's head over to the nursery because I'm gonna share with you my absolute, probably #1 all-time favorite panicle hydrangea. If you watch, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So let's head over there. My friends, if you are not familiar with Little Lime Punch, let me have the honor of introducing to you probably my favorite panicle hydrangea. She is just such a beautiful, great, high-performing, low-maintenance hydrangea. So we have a Little Lime Punch here as a hedge at the entrance of the signature garden here at Creekside Nursery. So you can actually come, you can see, you can touch, you can feel these hydrangeas because they are right here for you to look at. So Little Lime Punch is just a fantastic panicle hydrangea that will mature to about the size of about like 3 to 5 feet tall and wide. And what I absolutely adore about this plant is that, of course, I'm guaranteed to have these beautiful flowers each and every year. The stems on this hydrangea are incredibly strong and sturdy. They do not flop at all. If I'm going to get in here, very strong. I mean, like stocky, very, very stocky. Like, I am smacking this thing and it is not moving. Now, also, Little Lime Punch is going to come out as, it will have a little bit of those lime hues. So if you can see this flower right here, this is a new bud, right? So it does have a little bit of that limey hue, but very, very quickly, it will turn a beautiful white, very creamy, almost like an iridescent kind of white. And then, as you can see, they're taking on some pink hues already. Isn't that crazy? Here it is July, and they're taking on some pink hues. Now, again, these are not going to turn the punchy color that is on the tag. So when you are looking at a tag for Little Lime Punch, on the back, I think it's on the back, it may even be on the front, they will show you a color, and it is like rich, almost like a red, a deep pink. It is stunning. I tell folks, that's Michigan red. That's Blowing Rock red. That's Mountain red. So if you have those cooler climates at night, you're going to get that color. If you're like me and you have heat and humidity at night for months on end, you're going to get a beautiful little pink hue. And that's about it. You know what? It's all right. I have a very long growing season here in North Carolina. I don't have to deal with all the crazy snow that the people in Michigan do. It's a trade-off, my friends. So there you go. But Little Lime Punch is just, again, such a fantastic, beautiful hydrangea. We planted these here at the nursery so that they would form that hedge. Now, if you're looking at this guy right here and you're like, well, why is she not blooming? Why is she delayed? Last year, that's the only thing I can think of maybe, is that this one got a little bit of a hit because when we had I think it was a storm, I don't know if it was a hurricane, what it was, but I had tons of annuals in here and it really overshadowed. It was tall coleus and some dahlias, and they really kind of got too much into this hydrangea. It was the one that was definitely stunted in growth. So she's just trying to catch up, right? So that's okay. She does have, you know, some gorgeous buds on her. So there you go. So Little Lime Punch, you're going to see it again at the house because we have it there. She is beautiful. Now, we do have different panicle hydrangeas here in the signature garden. So in each of the beds, we have different hydrangeas, and they are in this interior part, they are going to be panicles because this part of the garden is a full sun garden. So we have got, I'm pretty sure we got a Quickfire Fab, and then we have got a Limelight Prime. So let me make sure that I know which one is which. I'll see you here in a second. Just 1 minute, please. All right, so the one behind me is Quickfire Fab. So we've talked about Quickfire Fab. Let me introduce you to Limelight Prime. So of course, I think Limelight was like the first like industry standard, like on the panicle hydrangeas, right? It set the bar. It was an amazing, and still is, an amazing hydrangea. So we've got the, you know, you got Limelight, you have got Limelight Prime, you've got Little Lime, and you've got Little Lime Punch. Well, this is that Limelight Prime. So Limelight Prime is going to be a little bit smaller in stature than Limelight. Of course, Limelight would get really big. This is going to be smaller. You can see that the blooms, again, start out a beautiful, nice limey green. As they mature, you see all the different stages of blooms here. And then here's one that's still developing. This one is a little bit later as far as really coming into its own. So even within panicles, you're gonna have ones like a staggered bloom time as far as like when they start. Limelight Prime is really kind of the desired hydrangea if you want more of that upright habit on it. So it's more upright than it is wide. It has nice, strong stems on it, stronger than Limelight, because that would be one of the complaints about Limelight, is that they don't have, their limbs can sometimes be a little floppy. I have found that they do have nice big blooms on them. Limelights tend to be bigger, but this is a great option if you like the look of a Limelight, but you need a more compact habit and something with stronger stems. So you've got the Limelight Prime. I want to say that that's going to be in that 5 to 6 tall, 3 to 4 wide on that one as well. So there you go. All right, now what we're going, while we're here, I almost forgot. So there are some oldies but goodies. When I say oldies, that means they have been on the market for several years. They're not new to the market, but they have been on, and they have, you know, withstood the test of time. Here at the nursery, this was, gosh, we have had these things in the ground probably, this is 2025, 6 years, 7 years maybe. What am I talking about? I am talking about Quickfire. So we have 3 Quickfire hydrangeas here in the back corner behind the barn. Y'all, these things are beautiful beasts. They are huge. You really can't get a perspective of how big they are because I'm the one filming by myself, right? And so now they are on a hill, so just there's some sort of optical illusion there. But son, I'm standing here. I mean, they are every bit of 7-8 feet tall, especially, you know, the tippy tops. They're huge. They're beautiful. Look how different these flower heads are compared to the ones that we've been looking at. So this is definitely like a lace cap panicle hydrangea. Do you see how like open and airy? They look very much like a lace cap serrata hydrangea, but they're not. They are panicles. They smell amazing, especially when they're first in bloom. They do start out a creamy white. So we've got a new bloom up here that is a creamy white, and then they will age to this nice kind of that rosy color. Your Quickfires, they also have, I don't know if you can see the stems, they kind of have more of a brown reddish hue to them. So they have a nice kind of, you can really see those stems sticking out as far as the color against the leaves of that nice rich green. So they will get big. This will be similar in size to your Limelights. So 8 to 10 feet tall, and they're gonna be, these at least are a little bit taller than they are wide, but these are every bit of 6, 7 feet wide. So nice and big. If you are looking for, I'm gonna come back in here in the shade. If you are looking for a panicle hydrangea that has fragrance and is a pollinator attractor, the Quickfires are way to go, because whether you want to do the original Quickfire that's nice and big, we're going to go to the house and look at little Quickfire, who's not so little, and then we've got, I think we've got, there's a Quickfire Fab. We've got a couple of them, yes. So anyway, whether you want Quickfire or little Quickfire, they are huge attractors for your pollinators because they have those nice big open blooms on them, and again have a lovely fragrance. So these are just absolutely phenomenal. They are kind of those early bloomers. So you can see also to the left we have hydrangeas on the hill. These are little limes, and so we did this bank again the same time we did the Quickfires, so those 6-7 years ago. And the little limes, these are just those good old traditional little limes. So you can really kind of see the difference between the little lime here and then that little lime punch in the signature garden. So your little limes are going to be, they have a little bit more open on the blooms. They are not as dense. They do tend to be a little bit bigger. And in my opinion, they're limier. They're not as that creamy white. Still the same size, 3 to 5 feet, and in my opinion, they don't have as strong a stems as Little Lime Punch because in certain situations, these will flop. They will for me. So there you go. Little Lime, it was, you had Limelight and then you had Little Lime. Great hydrangeas, but as most things, we kind of tweak them, we improve them, and so then you have Little Lime Punch. All right, let's head over to the house and pick up some hydrangeas there because we've got a whole new selection of hydrangeas over there. I want to introduce you to probably, she is the oldest hydrangea on our property. Look at that. That, my friends, is the original, the Limelight Hydrangea. We are down here just kind of along the creek bank at the house to kind of give you a reference. So the berm is over there, and then here we have Limelight. This Limelight is probably 16 years old. Bought it as a 3-gallon, and y'all, she is just fantastic. It is not even in anywhere close to being in all of her glory. As you can see, it is probably about 9 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock right now. and she is just starting to get some sun on her. And so she is a little bit behind maybe some of the other panicle hydrangeas that are really in like all day sun. But the reason that she's down here is because she is not on irrigation. So this hydrangea has been here those 15, 16 years, no irrigation. And other than when I first got it, I do not water her. So I don't supplement water with this one at all, and have not for years. Y'all, Limelight, when she is fully developed, when these flowers are fully developed, they are massive. They are huge. Some of them are starting to get that way up top. But Limelight, of course, is that classic industry standard hydrangea. It will get that 8 to 10 feet tall, most definitely. She is already, I would say, 8 to 10 feet wide as well. So if you're looking for a nice big presence, then Limelight might be a good option for you. You will notice that I have her, she's not quite a standard, because a standard would really kind of mean like one single trunk. But I have her in a little bit maybe more of a tree fashion than obviously some of my other hydrangeas, like the macrophylla next door here. And the reason I did this was really out of necessity, because as you can see, this garden is less maintained, shall we say. That's a nice way of saying it. Less maintained than the other gardens. And so there's actually, we're doing pretty good here as far as not having weeds all around the bottom. So years ago, I started limbing it up so that it would be easy for Jackson or Jerry or whoever, me, with the weed eater to get in here and cut down weeds. And so I just began kind of limbing it up. You are more than welcome to do that with your hydrangeas. So basically what you're going to do is find those nice, strong, sturdy stems that you have. Oh, hang on. Just about went through a huge old spider web. Give me a second. Okay, I made it down here safely without getting the spider web. So what you're gonna do is you're just gonna kind of limb them up. So for example, you can see that we have a new growth this year. So we've got some little sprouts here, we've got some here and here. So what I need to do is come in and just cut these guys off. So what you'll do is at the base, just work it, y'all. Anything little sprouting like this, you're just gonna cut them off, right? These little guys, cut them off. And this is, again, y'all, this is probably 7, 8 years in the making to get as far as the standard form on it in this position. But she is big, she is beautiful. She's a nice accent here down on the lower edge of the property. So Limelight's gorgeous. Now, let's head over to the very back of the property, because we have got some phantom hydrangeas. And phantom is very similar to Limelight, but yet they're different. So let's head over there. Quick pit stop before we hit the phantoms. Here at the fountain, here off the patio, this is where I have got, these were the original little lime punches. So I did have 3. When I very first planted them, I had 3 little lime punches. I lost the one in the center. So the 2 on the outside are little lime punch. And then here in the middle is pufferfish. And this is a great example of how you can really see like the difference in the blooms. So little lime punch, super nice, tight habit. You can see I'm getting a little bit of burn because these are in all day sun. So very compact, strong, sturdy. And then you come over here to pufferfish. See how much more open and light and airy that is? So there you go. So those are primes, and then the, not primes, listen to me, little lime punches, and then the pufferfish. This year, I planted Quickfire Fabs here. So what I need to do is, because again, y'all, we've been in the upper 90s. It was 100 and something earlier, well, yesterday rather. And so I'm going to come in here because these are newly planted, you know, just in the early spring. I'm going to go ahead and start coming in and selectively pruning off my blooms that are struggling, right? So I'm going to come in here and just snip them off. That way the plant it won't be under so much stress, it can rejuvenate, and if it decides to put on new flowers for the fall, then that's fantastic. It is putting on new flowers because here we have an absolutely beautiful specimen. Obviously, I'm not going to cut that unless I want to put it in an arrangement. So that's just something you can do, is if they start turning brown, you can come in, go ahead and snip them off. Like I'm literally just going to cut the head off. Like I'm just going to cut it off right here. And then that way the plant can put the energy back into it. And like I said, if it wants to give me new little flowers, then that is fantastic. And I will absolutely take that. Now, we are here. The phantoms are just going to have to wait a second as I tiptoe through the salvias and the pollinators leaving me alone. All right, so we have a little Quickfire, and it's so funny because little Quickfire is supposed to be obviously a petite version of Quickfire over there. And so every time Terry is our sales rep, I guess you would call her, from Spring Meadow Nursery, home of the Proven Winners Color Choice shrubs. And every time she comes to the house, it kills her that this is little Quickfire. She lives in Michigan. Little Quickfire does not get this big in Michigan. But here, man, she is happy. Now, I do have yin and yang viburnum here together. And so they form, even though they've both been pruned every year, they form this beautiful hedge along with the white chiffon rose of Sharon, which I love because this gives us privacy to the patio. But little Quickfire essentially has all the exact same attributes, characteristics of Quickfire, but in a more petite version. But you can see how just open those blooms are. When they are in full bloom, like you can see newly bloom, there's one up there, and there is a pollinator on it. There's a bumblebee up there. They love this plant. Like it literally is buzzing with activity and has the sweetest little fragrance ever. Like this perfume is absolutely gorgeous. So if you like the Quickfire, but it's too big, then I think it had to be on me. Try little Quickfire. Now, to add one more into the family of the Quickfires, then we have tiny Quickfire. And tiny Quickfire is a very tiny little petite hydrangea. It's only going to get to be about maybe 2 feet tall by 2 feet wide. So here we have a tiny Quickfire just down the road from little Quickfire. And tiny Quickfire is nice and petite. This would be great for a container. The front of the border, you can see I literally have it right here on the edge. And what I love about the tiny Quickfire is obviously the blooms, right? So it's not going to be that lace cap. They're much more compact. The blooms are a lot, like the petals themselves are nice and big. So it doesn't have that lacy feel to it that the Quickfires do. But tiny Quickfire is one that will go ahead and take on those really nice, rich red pinks for me, even here in North Carolina. So if you're looking for a panicle that is nice and petite, then tiny Quickfire might be a really good option for you. I dare say it's probably one of the absolute smallest panicles at that 2 by 2. And if you're in a cooler climate, it'll probably be even a little bit smaller for you than it is for me. But great option for like the front edge of a border or even for a container. We finally made it to the phantom hydrangeas. So we have on the very back of our property, we have this hedge of the phantom hydrangeas. And it is a double row. They are window paned with each other. There's probably, there might be 20 that are in here total. You can see that they're right in front of the cryptomerias. The cryptomerias are that beautiful nice wall of evergreen. People always ask what those are. Those are cryptomerias. We actually planted those before we even got the house built. So they are they're close to 22 years old. But the phantoms are a nice big hydrangea, right? a lot of times you will see them compared to Limelights, but really their blooms are, they are quite different. So you can see that these are still developing, but notice how they are more of that kind of that creamy white. They do have a little bit of a lime hue to them, but not nearly as limey as the Limelight. Also, they're gonna have a much more open, airy look to them than the Limelights do. They will be nice, big heads. I've already been cutting on them. I've already been cutting on them this season and haven't been bringing them in to the house, but they're going to be a nice tall hydrangea that's still that 8 to 10 feet tall, but just, I mean, gorgeous. The heads are still developing, so you really can't see them in all of their glory as far as like how big that those blooms are going to get. So if you have an option of a phantom, then go ahead and grab it. Phantoms are non-branded, and even now the Limelights, the patent has been lifted off of that. But if you see a phantom and you like that nice big look, because they're going to be nice and tall, again, y'all, I took these down big time. So just to kind of give you an idea of where I pruned them. So this is a great example. So this is, you can see right here, I pruned it. This was in February, March. So I did here. Now, look, all of that is new growth from this year. So really, again, tight habit, fast growth on it. So cut it here, and then we already have at least 2 feet, close to 3 feet growth on them. So phantom hydrangeas, they're big, they're beautiful, no irrigation, none whatsoever. And this was horrible red clay soil. I mean, it's terrible, y'all. And so the only thing that we've done is mulch it. So we try to keep it nice and mulched, so that way the weeds stay out of it. And then of course we have retains that moisture since they are not on irrigation. So there you go with that. And we have some more phantoms right here underneath the maple tree. We had a few left over, so we stuck them there. Now, let's head this way first. If you say, well, I want a panicle hydrangea, but I still have some weird like sun conditions. It gets morning sun and then it's in the shade in the afternoon, and I don't really know if it gets that 5 to 6 hours plus of sun. Well, let me introduce you to White Wedding. White Wedding is from our friends at Southern Living. She's a beauty. Well, beauty. She is gorgeous. And so I have one of her here right off of the front porch. And this is exactly why I put her here, because she is a panicle, right? She has that classic panicle look, very kind of cone shaped on the blooms, beautiful creamy white, very compact, nice, strong, sturdy stems. But she is technically in the shade garden. She's just now getting her sun on her. She will get 5 hours of sun, maybe. And then it's going to be in the shade for the vast majority of the day. However, at the very end of the day, because this is west and this is where the sun sets, as the sun is going down, she gets shot with some hot afternoon sun. I have tried Reberlumi macrophyllus here. I have tried serratas here, and just not had very good luck with them. Also, because this is right along the driveway, north is essentially in front of me, whenever we get those late spring frost freezes and those winds that come through, if it was a serrata or a macrophylla, they always got zapped. So any of those buds that were on there, they got fried. Even if I covered it, because the wind is so vigorous and just whips through here, it would just go right through the cloth and it would freeze the buds. So I wasn't getting blooms. And I'm like, this is prime real estate. And in prime real estate, if you're not performing, then out you go. So that's when I saw that Southern Living said this is the most shade tolerant macrophylla hydrangea, not macrophylla, panicle hydrangea. So White Wedding is the most shade tolerant panicle hydrangea, and clearly she is doing really well here. She is not on irrigation. I do supplement her with water when in this time of the year. So I'll just stick the hose at her base because I have to water some of my containers here in the shade garden. So about, I don't know, 2 or 3 times a week, I'll just stick the hose at the base, let it run for a little bit, and get some good water on her so that she doesn't show any kind of burn. And you can see that these hydrangea blooms are just stunning. She's also going to be more on the petite side, so she's not going to get huge and massive, and it just really works in this area quite nicely. Of course, makes gorgeous cut flowers. All of these hydrangeas make beautiful vases, so just have fun, go out there and cut. Excuse me, and you can see that we're still getting lots of buds that are developing right there. So there you go. Now, to wrap up the hydrangea tour, the sun-loving hydrangeas. Here we go. We are going to show you firelights. And firelights are, again, they're a classic. I love them. They have been in this garden for many years, and this is why we call this Hydrangea Hill, is because we have the firelights on this hill between the terrace garden and the chicken coop. These firelights have been here for probably 7 years. And they are, again, one of those classic panicle hydrangeas that gets nice and big. So it would be similar in size to your Limelights and your Quickfires. Firelights, for me, do a great job of turning a nice slight pink. So we're going to come up here on the back side so we can see it a little bit better. They're somewhere between the density of a Limelight and the openness of the Quickfire. So they do really well. They don't really flop. The only thing I would say right now, you might be looking and say, well, they're not, I wouldn't say they're floppy. I just say they're rounded, right? They have all that shape all over them because we have got such big, huge blooms on these things. They're massive. So they can be a little bit on the downward turn side, I guess you could say, but just gorgeous. As you can see, there are little pollinators all over them. Love this. But the the firelights, it's getting hot, I'm getting flustered. The firelights will do a really good job of turning a nice pink hue for me. In fact, some of them are already turning a little bit pink. This is on irrigation. We just turned the irrigation on this season, and so it runs for about, I think, 20 minutes a day. And the irrigation just simply runs by them. It's not like they're wrapped or anything in that. But the firelights do just a phenomenal job right here, and definitely make a big impact, a big presence up here on Hydrangea Hill. Now, to continue with the Firelight family, let me introduce you, because you may go, well, Jenny, those are massive, those are big, I do not have room to put that hydrangea. Well, let me introduce you to one of my next favorite hydrangeas. And I can't really get up there, so we're just going to show it from here. Meet Firelight Tidbit. So Tidbit is this cutie patootie here in front of Firelight. Tidbit, she is an absolute workhorse, y'all. Now, I just planted these. They've not even been in the garden for, I don't even 6-8 months yet. They haven't even had their first birthday. So Firelight Tidbit, we have 3 of them in this space. Because I keep it real, you can see this one has a weed growing up right in the middle of her, so I need to get that. But Firelight Tidbit is going to be nice and tight and compact. She is going to be, I think, at maturity in that 2 to 3 foot range. And so this one's a little bit better. You can see it a little bit better. Very compact, very tight, very vigorous, just phenomenal. Already starting to take on just a little bit of those pink hues. So Firelight Tidbit is an absolutely great panicle hydrangea. Nice, tight habit, small. So if you want to put it in a container, you can put it in a container. If you want to put it at the front of a border, you absolutely can do that. So Whether you have room for big boys like Quickfire, Firelight, Phantom, Limelights, go for those. If you don't, if you have that medium space, then the little lime punch, the white wedding, even pufferfish, just depends on your garden, or if you need something little, the tiny Quickfire, the Firelight Tidbit, all of those are great options for you. We even have Firelight Tidbit down here in the cottage garden as well. So if you have those gardens that get the 5 to 6 hours or more of sun, just know that there is a hydrangea for you. You can see maybe a little bit of difference in size. This tidbit has been in the ground. It got planted in the fall, and so it's been in the ground a little bit longer than the ones up on the hill. So it's a little bit bigger. Not quite as much sun on this one because it gets more delayed. And so the other ones are blooming a little bit ahead. But that's why I love having them in different locations, because you have different seasons as far as like when they begin to bloom. So I think for the most part, we traditionally think of hydrangeas as being shade loving, right? Because for so many years, hydrangeas were a shade shrub, right? Your macrophyllus, your serratas, those, even some of your arborescents, right? Those are going to be more for the shade. Now, because of the breeding and all of the different things that have gone into the development of hydrangeas, we now have these hydrangeas that actually have to have the full sun. So that's what I share with people. If you have a garden, there is a hydrangea for you. Whether you are in shade, a little bit of sun, or full sun, then you can have a hydrangea, because the vast majority of my gardens are full sun. We built our house in the middle of a field. So it's taken 20 years to actually get me some shade. So the vast majority of my gardens are full sun. That's why I have so many panicle hydrangeas, is because I have so much sun. You go up to my mama's, 200 yards away. She lives under pine trees. She really can't grow panicles. She has very few of them because of the way that she lives under trees. So this is just a little bit of encouragement. If you think you can't have a hydrangea because you have too much sun, my friend, I have got one for you. But speaking of, all the hydrangeas on Gardening with Creekside are 20% off this weekend. So if you see something that you like, head on over there. We've got sun and shade both together. So they are 20% off. Use the code HYDRA, HYDRA at checkout, and you'll get 20% off. So just a little side note on that. But we do hope you have found this fun, informative, inspirational. Even if you have a lot of shade and you can't grow panicles, I hope you found it inspiring. I think it's always fun to see other people's gardens, even if they are completely different than my own. We always learn something. So we would love it if you would like and subscribe. That way you don't miss those 5 videos that we do each and every week. Y'all have an amazing day. We will see you in the next video. Bye, friends.